Hello and thanks for joining us on our weekly political program on Lagos Television. I am Ajibola Ojeshola. Tonight on the program, we'll be looking at that bill which is before members of the House of Representatives, the bill on diaspora voting. That's essentially what we'll be looking at on the program today. And the Chairman, CEO, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Honorable Mrs. Abikedabrirewa, will be our guest on the program. But before then, we'll go on a very short break to bring you some of the trending news in the polity. We'll be right back. You're still watching the Pendulum, coming to you live on Lagos Television. My guest this evening is the Chairman, CEO, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Honorable Mrs. Abikedabrirewa, and she will be speaking to that bill before the Green Chamber of the National Assembly on diaspora voting. It's a pleasure to have you on the program this evening.
Thank you, Jibola. Nice to be with you on your program.
Thank you.
Well done. Great job you're doing.
Thank you. Before we go to that bill, which is before members of the Green Chamber of the National Assembly, speak to us as to how the Commission is actually amplifying the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President in such a way that Nigerians will be encouraged to come home and invest.
Yes, we just had the Diaspora Investment Summit, during which Mr. President was represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and the renewed hope message was clearly passed to them. Now, under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, there are many programs for the diaspora. Under him, we have the Renewed Hope Housing Initiative. Now, there's a parcel of land for the diaspora here in Abuja where they can, just get and own their own houses. There's a mortgage scheme coming up for the diaspora mortgage scheme, where they can get 50 million naira and be able to buy their own homes. And then we're working on, in fact, next year, the medical doctors, AMPA, will be having the conference in Nigeria, in Africa for the first time. Normally they hold it in America, but they are coming to Lagos next year to hold their conference. This will be a gathering of Nigerian doctors all over America and other parts of the world. And we started the data mapping portal for the diaspora. Mapping is key. It's important to know where you are, what you're doing. So that's very critical. Now we have the Diaspora Day, which we have made bigger and better, and so that the diaspora can come together and we celebrate them. We also have the Diaspora Merit Award. So most importantly is that under Mr. President, an enabling environment is being created for the diaspora who want to come home. At the last investment summit, oh my God, it was really good. A lot of them came home. A lot of them, are investing in Nigeria, and they're investing in key areas. Healthcare, very, very important. A lot of Nigerians are setting up their hospitals here in Nigeria. Healthcare, ICT, agriculture, the food business, education. So what the government is doing is ensuring that, just for any investors, you make the environment a bit more conducive, less bureaucracy, security, infrastructure. We now have diaspora focal officers in every state of the Federation. So if you want to invest in Lagos, for instance, we have the diaspora agency to go to. So the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President, again, we propagate that to the Nigerians in the diaspora. I just came back from a tour of Europe, and it's something that they're also keying into. And whatever concerns we bring to the doorstep of the ministers, not necessarily the president, the ministers who are in charge of those areas, to ensure that things are done. And Mr. President himself is a diaspora. He came from the diaspora, so he understands the need to engage more with our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. And we're hoping that we achieve what we call diaspora direct investment. We say foreign direct investment, but the diaspora, $90 billion remittances, is not a joke in the last 5 years. And under this administration, you see that the Central Bank of Nigeria is putting in more policies that make it easier for the diaspora to be able to remit their money back home. But we say beyond remittances, let's have them invest properly into the economy. Imagine 1,000 diaspora put together $1,000. Do you know how much that would be, and they can invest in particular things? So a whole lot of things under the renewed agenda.
So, so far with this program of Mr. President, which your commission is propagating, what kind of feedback are you getting from Nigerians abroad?
To tell you the honest truth, Nigerians abroad are very much interested in investing in their country, and they're beginning to do so. All we need to do, which is what governance is about anyway, which the president is doing, is, putting in place, implementing policies that will make life better for those who want to come and invest in their country. Now, the message is not pack your bags and come home, but wherever you are, we can work together. So they are the number one ambassadors of Nigeria. Wherever you are, we can work together, and then do not forget home, always look back. So they understand the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President. And they also understand that, well, with the tough policies that are being taken, and that tough policies come with tough times, But what we're telling the diaspora is, what can you do back home under this renewed hope agenda? And they are beginning to do that. We're putting together data of those that are, in fact, this December, we're still having a program targeted at the Nigerian youth on their own contributions and all this. So a lot is happening, but we keep engaging with them and keep propagating the renewed hope agenda. And then they are the number one ambassadors. They understand the message and they help in propagating the message too. But in terms of investments, yes, they complain about, insecurity, but we tell them that there's nowhere in the world where there are no stories here and there. It's the story you tell about your country that people will believe. If you tell the world, my country is a useless country, you take your passport, that's what they will believe. But you tell good stories about your country. Don't lie. We're not saying it's about lies, but tell good stories. Sell your country. There are challenges everywhere in the world. So we should remain number one ambassadors of our country.
All right. Speak to us on that bill, which is before members of House of Rep now. It scaled the second reading recently. What's your perspective on this particular bill, and how are Nigerians abroad reacting to it?
Well, they are excited and hopeful that hopefully, finally, the bill on diaspora voting will be passed. Hopefully, everybody is optimistic. And it's being sponsored by none other than the Speaker of the House of Representatives himself. Now, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas has actually been a strong supporter of diaspora voting. He sponsored it in the last, I think, 8th Assembly or 9th. Anyway, this is not the first time he's sponsoring it. So we're hoping that there'll be more understanding. And here's the thing. The role of the parliament is to make laws possible for diaspora voting to happen. It's not that it's going to happen tomorrow. Now, there will still be a second line of amendment that now, for INEC to decide how it will be conducted. When will the infrastructure be ready? What is the funding needed? So the role of parliament is, you don't go amending the constitution every time. So now that you're amending the constitution, make it possible for the diaspora to be able to vote. It's just a 1-line or 2-line amendment. And then when you do that, there's the second one that INEC will now decide how diaspora voting will happen, and the infrastructure needed. Look, in I think Brazil, you cannot vote as a diaspora if you haven't been to your country in the last 4 years. So there are many rules that may have to come. Then you have to define who is a diaspora. A diaspora is legally defined as somebody living legally in another man's country, pays tax, has an address. So we'll define who a diaspora is. It's not just that, you go to another person's country irregularly and then you come back and vote in your own country. So we define properly who a diaspora that's entitled to vote. So hopefully the parliament will understand that there's nothing to be afraid of about the diaspora voting. Nothing to be afraid of. And we hope that it does scale through.
Okay, if this bill is eventually passed into law, data will be very key as to the number of Nigerians who can vote abroad. Do you think we have enough database to actually accommodate those that will be opportune to vote abroad when this bill eventually becomes law?
Yes, we have created a data portal. And we've been telling Nigerians abroad, just go to the portal, register, there's no who you are, what you do. And then the embassies also have data. So we put all this together, to have one major, and then we're also working with NIMSI on the data of Nigerians abroad. So we have a data portal. So the excuse before that, no structure, that you have a diaspora commission now that is, curating data of Nigerians in the diaspora. That makes the job a little easier in terms of diaspora voting. But like I said, a diaspora is legally defined as somebody who is living legally in another man's country, pays tax, and has an address.
Okay, so eventually when it becomes law, what does such portend for our democracy?
Number one, they deserve to vote. It's their right to vote. That you're out of your country doesn't mean you cannot exercise your right to vote. And people are worried that, oh, maybe one group um, has more than others. Absolutely not. There's nowhere you have Nigerians abroad from every tribe. And that's the truth. So what this portends is that, well, Nigerians abroad can exercise their franchise and they can just fulfill their civic rights. But like I said, it has to come with INEC deciding how, where, who, and the mode, the infrastructure that will be needed, and also the funding. You know, India doesn't have diaspora voting, but they don't do dual citizenship. They give their people 25 years visa, but they want you to come home and vote. Many countries in Africa have diaspora voting, so there's no reason why Nigeria should not be part of it. So it will change the dynamics. It will just allow Nigerians who are entitled to vote. As simple as that. It's their right to vote, and we should try to make it happen.
Okay, let's move quickly away from the bill now. I'm sure that the Commission is doing a lot for Nigerians abroad, but specifically, I would like to know what the Commission is doing to help Nigerians who might be in one trouble or the other outside the country.
We're always on hand to do that. You know, just every day. Many you don't see in the media, many, but we're there. But however, we say that try to. I mean, you can't get into trouble as an irregular migrant. You have to face the consequences. Then you call on the federal government to not make you face those consequences. So, but we're trying to get those in Mali that were stranded. We're working on getting them back. They were trafficked. You could see we'll be bringing back trafficked young girls and boys from Ghana. Now, a critical one is Libya. You know, we brought back about 10,000 from Libya. This year alone, under the Tinubu administration, almost 5,000 have been brought back. Almost 5,000. That's between January and I think July. So, but you see here cries of where we're going. We keep saying, don't go to Libya. There's no government in Libya. You have the government of national unity. You have the rebels. So to even go to Libya, they want to bring you back. We need permission from both so that you'll be safe. So Libya is very complicated. So the Office of the National Security Advisor handles Libya because it has serious security implications. But we'll do all we can. But please help me appeal to our people through your program. It's not worth going to those places. It's not worth it at all. It's very those who are crying are those who survive. Many don't even survive. So we'll do that, but at the same time, we need to caution ourselves. The International Organization for Migration has been working with the federal government to bring stranded Nigerians back from those places. But the thing is, you bring 10 back, 20 are going back. So it's really a big problem. We need to actually make them understand that it's very deadly. Those who come back tell their stories that, listen, if I had known, I would never ever have done it. And then traffickers have to be named and shamed. We need to nab traffickers. And we're working with NAPTIP. NAPTIP is doing all it can within its circumstances. So we'll always be there, but let's try to avoid getting into trouble or try to avoid committing the crime and all that. And while we work on that, we also celebrate Nigerians excelling all over the world. I mean, we are simply amazing, amazing. And I'm so excited at the news about Nigerians all over the world. And what we're telling them is, oh, also look back at the country that made you and let's work together. And the message is resonating so much so that they are even the ones that call. Listen, I've done this, I've done that, I want to do this, I want to do that. So ours is we're like the embassy here in Nigeria. So we keep at it. We keep at it.
Okay, those
And
stranded Nigerians in
take the welfare
Libya.
of our people seriously, and we will.
Okay.
You know, also Nigerians in foreign prisons, there are those that are there for little things. You know, these are things we're working on. Like even Libya you're talking about, some people have returned from Libya, but nobody talks about it. You know, as you get a flight, you put it, nobody talks about it.
Okay, but when you bring them back like that, how do you reintegrate them back into the society?
The states, every state, they come from state, like all the ones we bring back from Ghana, or even Libya, we connect them with their state governments. Each state now has a diaspora focal person. So like a boy recently received their citizens and they're working to rehabilitate them. First is rehabilitation. Second is what kind of work do you want to do? Some don't want to do anything. They just want to return. That has happened severally. Some will say, listen, I just want money. I don't want any skills. I don't want to train. So really, um, we, NAPTIP, we hand over to NAPTIP, who's in charge of rehabilitation, and then we contact the states, let them know these are your citizens, and then, decide what you want to do for them.
Okay, just before we let you go, this Jackpot syndrome seemed to be an attraction for our youth. What would you say to those who might want to move outside the shores of the country as to how they can channel their path and, of course, make their journey successful?
You can move, but know where you're going to. Move legally. There have been many cases of agents promise them jobs, they get there are no jobs, and then they're stranded. There's a gentleman who sold everything he had, and he had a transportation business, but he sold everything he had, moved over and got there, everything was a lie, and he came back with nothing. So know where you're going to. Then we're working with Nigerians in various countries I'm amazed that, like in Canada, there's a group of young Nigerians. They have this Instagram thing, almost 4,000. So when you're going there, you contact them, they make life easier for you, whether it's a bed or this you need. These are young Nigerians who are not, they don't do association. They just have this group. You contact them, they see how they all can rally around to help. So we have Nigerians trying to help Nigerians when to go to these places. But there should be massive education, massive awareness of know where you're going to. There's no problem with jackpotting, but jackpot regularly. You want to jackpot to become a better person. You want to jackpot to, come back and show up and say, look at me today, And I'm not against jackpotting, although I don't want us to lose our young men and women. But if you feel that is your destiny, if you feel that is where you want to go, if you feel that's where you make your dreams will come true, nobody can stop you. But you can't stop migration, regular or irregular, but reduce irregular migration. Then make our own country too conducive so that young man who is seeking for hope in hopelessness will realize that it's not really necessary. If somebody is out, you can't get a job for how many years and you get an offer, but of course you go. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing everything possible to ensure that more jobs are created. He's empowering SMEs, You have a small business, you get empowered, you can start your own small business. If more SMEs are encouraged, more people will start their small businesses and employ more people. The president is doing that. The president is encouraging students to get loans. So you can't say, I can't go to school because I don't have the money. So the president is encouraging that every state should ensure that, they make their states attractive. The president is encouraging that, times may be tough, but it will not last forever. So we also pass that message to the diaspora to ensure that no matter what, nobody will lose our country, but we ourselves, Nigerians at home, work with Nigerians and let's build this great country of ours, and we will do it.
All right, I want to thank you very much. Chairman, CEO, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Honorable Mrs. Abikeda Brieriwa, for your time on the Pendulum this evening.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, that's the show this evening. We thank you very much for watching. We'll be back again next week to discuss another political topic entirely on the program. I am Ajibola Ojeshola. I'll see you then.